Hey, it's IdkWhatsRc and this is the very first guide I'm making about the 2007 RuneScape servers. So the servers that will soon be released. So please take note that this video was released before the launch of the servers, so everything may not be 100% accurate. And don't forget that I didn't have a lot of time to make this guide, so many things will be missing. I tried to do my best to put the most important things in this video, but obviously I couldn't put everything. Okay, so first of all, one of the big difference between real RuneScape right now and the new servers will be transportation. So yeah, right now in RuneScape it's very easy to go pretty much anywhere in RuneScape. You can use familiar, magic spells, jewelries like Ring of Dueling or Glories, and yeah, it's very easy, but when the game will be released, there will be no such items. To make La Runes, people will need to have high Runecrafting level, which will not be the case at the launch of the game, so La Rune will cost a lot, and there will be no Glories. They require level 80 in crafting, for example. So yeah, there will be nearly no teleportation, and also a big factor is that running really takes a lot of energy run. So right now you can pretty much run forever, and you don't really need to have energy potion, but before the energy update, you really need energy potion in order to run a lot. Another thing to consider is that home teleport has a cooldown of 30 minutes, so you can only use it once every 30 minutes, but there's another way to get to Lumbridge very fast, is by banking all your items and dying. And by doing that, you will spawn at Lumbridge automatically. I highly recommend you to do the quest Fairy Tales Part 2. I know the requirements are quite high, but it will be a very useful quest because you won't have to rely on anyone. You will be independent, and it's very important in a game that's totally new. I also highly recommend you to minimize transportation, so don't simply run around without thinking about what you're doing, and weight reducing items will be way more useful than what it is right now, especially because of the energy update. So I highly recommend you to go get the Boots of Lightness. There are no requirements to get them. Okay, so now let's talk about the skills. So for example, Runecrafting. So on the old servers, there will be no rune spawn. So there is no way to actually away from keyboard Runecrafting. There will also be no ZMI. So Runecrafting will be a very slow skill to train. You can use runners, however, to speed up things, but they are quite expensive, except if you're very high in Runecrafting. Also, for the Abyss, you might think it's a good way to go, but actually, right now at the launch, it won't really be a good idea. First of all, your defense level will be very low, there will be pickers, and to enter the inner ring, you will need to have at least a mid-level in all the skilling skills. For example, mining if you want to make your way through the inner ring, and there will be no glory, so no way to come back, except if you use Varrock Teleport, but if you do that, it's not really worth it to use the Abyss. For agility, there will be no advanced agility course. So yeah, that's also slows down the maximum amount of experience you can get per hour. And for those who really want to do the agility right at the beginning, if you want to do the bar crawling mini quest to access the Barbarian Outpost agility course, don't forget that this quest will be very long because you have no way to teleport to Ardun, because there is no line, you haven't done the quest. So really think about your transportation first. Okay, so now let's talk about melees. So what I personally recommend to train melee at is first of all cows, chicken, and rock crab. So those really give quite good experience. For the cows, the great thing is the hides, and for the chicken, it's the feathers that people will need to fish. So they can be really good money making methods. Once you have a quite high level, you can go to Hill Giants, Most Giant, and Ogre. That will give better experience, and also Big Bones. That will be worth a lot for players who want to train prayer. And then finally there is the Giant Spiders in the Stronghold of Security that are aggressive, so it's really good away from keyboard experience. Back before the EOC, the best weapon by far was the Scimitar. Well, there is the whip, but if you need to choose between different types of weapon that have the same tiers, so for example between different mithril weapons, then I highly recommend you to get the scimitar. It's the best DPS possible, and one of the really good quests to do at the beginning is the waterfall quest, and by doing it there is no requirements to do it, and by completing the quest you will get instantly level 30 in strength and attack, saving you a lot of time. Okay, so for Slayer, it's really a slower skill. First of all, there is no teleportation right at the beginning, so it's already hard to go to your new monster. There is obviously no cannonballs, because people won't really smith them for you. You will need to smith them yourself, and it's really bad experience per hour. Also, a very important thing is that there will be no smoking kills quest. So this means you cannot skill task, except if you do the bird up Slayer Master and you don't have access to the Slayer now. There is still the Black Mask, so I highly recommend to get it, to get a boost in strength and attack, I think, or only damage, not really sure, but there is no Slayer Mask, and it will be hard to get food at the beginning, but I don't really think it's a problem. For other skills like woodcutting, mining, and fishing, the problem is the high competition. So right at the beginning there will be tons of people that will try to train, for example, woodcutting at Lumbridge, and you cannot have, I don't know, 100 people training at the same spot, so the competition will be very hard, and getting tools, because you will need to make them yourself or go buy them at the shop, and it could be a little problem. Now for smithing, a very important thing to know is that rune armor and dragon weapons can be bought from NPCs, so from shops. So don't really expect to make tons of cash if you're the first player to get 99 smithing. The rune armor is not really a special thing. You can buy it easily for 69k. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And anyway, the rune armor is not the best armor. There is the barrows, there is the granite, which is quite accessible. So yeah, don't really expect to make a lot of profit. What could be good money is to actually make knives, so players who want to train range will be able to do so very fast. So yeah, don't really expect to make money with armor, but instead make knives. For sure, I'm not totally sure that it will be the case, but that's what I predict will happen. For crafting instead, it will be great and epic money. So if you want money, I think crafting will be the way to go, because ton of people will need glories, ring of dueling, game necklace. Well, pretty much everything that you use to teleport is made with crafting. So it will be a very good skill to make money, but it will also cost a lot to train at the beginning. On the other hand, for a skill like fire making and fletching, I think they will be very cheap. Especially because people don't really want to waste their time training fire making at the beginning. They want to do wood cutting to get high level, do magic logs, and get a lot of cash. So they will probably sell the logs very cheap. So if you want to get level 99 in a skill fast and cheaply, I think fire making will probably be the best, because it's totally useless in a way. Same thing for fletching, but many people don't really know that, but fletching is a key part in making money, because it's great to have a magic log, but the magic log alone, it's worth nothing. You cannot IL them, you cannot transfer it for cash, and a magic log is useless. The only good thing is to turn it into a magic bow and then IL it to get a lot of cash, and fletching magic bow will be a key part to add money to the game. So I do think it will be quite good money to be able to craft magic bows, even though most people won't know that. For the magic spell skill, it will be very hard to train at the beginning, because there will be no runes. Yes, after a while there will be tons of them, especially with a lot of Runecrafter for the low level runes. For runes like Chaos, it will be, I think it's probably one of the runes that will be the most lacking. Many people will want to use bolts, but nobody really craft the Chaos runes, because right now in the real RuneScape, Chaos are totally useless. Only the Death one are good, because nobody use bolts. So yeah, training magic is also kind of useless. Yes, it's useful for teleports, but in order to use teleports, we will first need to wait until people with Runecrafting are able to craft laws and nature runes. But once it's the case, then magic can become very powerful and can be a very good source of money, and be very useful to train other skills, especially skills like Slayer where you need to teleport a lot. Okay, so now for thieving, I think it will be very good money right at the beginning, especially because of looting chests. So there is a chest in Ardoon at level 25 that gives you 1 nature rune every time you loot it, and 1 nature rune, it's totally amazing cash. And there is also the Sorceress Garden that give you herbs that will be worth a lot of cash, especially at the beginning when people don't really have a high level in farming and getting seeds is very hard. I also think that looting NPCs, especially for gems and coins, can be very good money. For the skill Herblore, there is a big change. So right now, when you have a creamy herb, it tells you what it is. For example, the creamy Ranor. But back then, the herbs were unit, so you couldn't tell the difference. And this was a big problem because of Scammer. So they were offering you and telling you that it was a creamy Ranor, but actually it was simply a creamy Marantil, and you couldn't tell the difference. However, there is an easy way to not get scammed because the same unique herbs stack together. So for example, in your bake, make sure to know what each stack is. For example, my first stack, I'm sure that it's a Ranor stack. You can test one to make sure that it's a Ranor one. And when you want to trade with a player, you fill your whole inventory with random item and only leave one spot with the herb you want. So when you do the trade, if it's the same herb that you already have, you will be able to do the trade, but if it's not, you won't have enough inventory space to do that and the trade won't happen, so you won't get scammed. Okay, so for prayer, I really recommend you to pick every single bone you will get. They will be worth a lot because people will want to get level 43 prayer as soon as they can because it's a very powerful prayer. And another thing to consider is that there will be no personal own house, so no Gilded Athlor, and this means that Eco Fungus, even though it's really slow, could eventually become viable. It's still slower experience per hour than burying it in the bank, but you need 4 times less bones, so that's a good point. And using prayer, you really need an Athlor because otherwise you need prayer potion, and to have prayer potion you need farming and have a herblore level, so I don't really think you will be able to have a full inventory of prayer potion and be able to pray all the time like it is right now in EOC, where the prayer potion are very cheap. For range, what I recommend to use is knives with the attractor. So knives are by far the fastest experience after red chins, obviously, so that's what I recommend to do. Back then it was the best way at yaks, and it's kind of, well, it will be quite expensive because you will lose them as you throw them, but with the tractor it's not that bad. And also a great thing about range is that you can easily safe spot different dragon. For example, the blue dragon, you can kill them easily pretty much at any level, and this could be very good money. Now for construction, all I can tell you is good luck. Construction is totally useless except for the Gilded Athlor and maybe the teleports, but to be honest, it's not really worth it. Well, obviously if you're going for level 99, be one of the first, then go for it, but except that, I don't really think many people will try to train construction at the beginning. It will be very hard to get planks, but it will be possible. Obviously when people will manage to get the Lunar Diplomacy quest done and be able to use plank make, and this skill will be very easy to train, but right at the beginning it's kind of unlikely. You will probably need to make your own planks and it will be very slow. For Hunter, not many things have changed. The only main difference is Draconic Jadinko that are removed and grain walls also. So the best way to train is Red Chinchompa, and then they still give really good experience. So yeah, now I'll tell you a couple tips to make a lot of cash. So first of all, you can get 10k coins from the Stronghold of Security, and you can do this at any level, even level 3, because there will be so many people, the chance of getting it will be very low. Another thing to make great money is to be a runner or do player services to players who are willing to pay a lot to get faster experience. So right at the beginning, if you want easy cash, you can do that. Personally, I'm looking for runners for the Earth and the Cosmic Atlas. And if you want to make great cash, then simply go check out my live stream when I will be playing RuneScape. Another way to make cash will be to pick flax at the Sears Village. So yeah, it's kind of newbie, but it's needed. Someone needs to pick the flax and turn them into bowstrings so people can train fletching and IL the bows. Another great thing to make cash is Pure Essence and Rune Essence. So this will be a great thing to make money, because everybody who wants to train runecrafting will need them. You can also pick up planks in the wilderness. There is no skills required, and people who want to train construction will be willing to pay a lot for the planks. You can also get sapphires. There is a sapphire item respawn that is in the wilderness, and getting sapphire will be very hard when the game will be launched, so I think sapphire will be worth a lot, even though it's not really useful except for the game necklace. And finally, there is the Lumbridge Castle and the Cooking Guild that has a lot of item respawns that can be very easy cash. If you want to make cash via skills, so with experience, don't forget that there will be a very intense competition. So everybody will be rushing to the high level to make a lot of cash. And if you're too slow and there are too many players with the right level already, then the cash you will make will be greatly reduced. So for runecrafting, there are 4 main steps. The first one is Law Rune, then double cosmic. Well, first of all, double cosmic, and after that, Law Rune, double astral, even though at the beginning I don't really think there will be a high demand for astral runes. And finally, the famous double nats that will be amazing cash. Another way to make amazing cash will be to collect whips at level 85 Slayer. It's by far the best weapon of the game. For cooking and fishing, cooking shark, even though it's cooking, you might think nobody can make money with cooking, but actually back then cooking really gave a lot of cash, because players don't want to waste their shark. Obviously it won't be as much cash as fishing or slayer, but it's still a good skill to train, especially at the beginning. After that, there is the combo woodcutting, fletching, and magic to make bows and turn them into quens with high alchemy. Nobody really used the bows, so you really need to use high alchemy, and to use it you will need gnats. So you will need to wait until people are able to make gnats to make money from that. There is also the combo mining, smithing, and magic. Pretty much the same thing, but with rune armors. So don't really think you will be able to sell the rune armors. Yes, you will be able, but don't expect to make tons of cash. People can buy them via shops, and anyway they will probably switch very early to granite armor, because rune are only the best armor for 15 level and 15 very low level. So yeah, I do think that many people will need to ILD their rune armor. For crafting, I really recommend you to make, as soon as you can, an insane amount of Ring of Dueling and Glories. They will be worth a lot, and if you have the level for Glories, you will be uber rich. For Hunter, it's very easy. Red Chins, I don't really think there will be a very high demand at the beginning. Not many people will be able to afford that, but eventually it will become very good. And for Herblore, supersets will also be very, well, not expensive, but can make you very rich. Another useful tip I can give you is to use the shops. So back then, the shops were not personalized. So everybody had the same stock in the shops. So there is a high competition to get the items, but if you're the one getting the item, then you can make great money. So this is a little list of very useful shops to get tools, and you could make a lot of money by getting the supplies there. And finally, this is a little list of random tips to help you. So first of all, especially at the launch, don't train at common places. So yes, it's very tempting to simply go train woodcutting at Lumbridge, but there will be tons of people, and there are trees and oak trees pretty much everywhere in RuneScape. So find a spot where other players won't affect your experience per hour. And if it's impossible, simply switch skill for a skill like agility, where the amount of players training the skill at the same time doesn't really matter. Or you can also do quests and still be efficient. Also, it's very important to be autonomous, so independent. Do not rely on other players, because there will be really no players, there will be no economy. So don't expect to buy Ring of Dueling, for example, and stand at the World 2 asking for a Ring of Dueling. You won't get them that way. There will be no Ring of Dueling, so no point in waiting there. You can use the forums and friends to trade. That's what I recommend, so you don't waste time. But don't go to World 2 yet. Maybe later, when there will be an economy, but right now it's a waste of time. Also, don't forget to not underestimate the drops. Right now, when we get bones, we probably leave them. They are not really worth a lot, but I can tell you, players who will want to train crafting prayer will be willing to pay a lot for the bones. So I highly recommend to pick everything up. And finally, don't forget to minimize transportation, because there is pretty much no teleport and you don't want to waste your time running. It's pure experience waste. So yeah, that's pretty much it about this little guide. Don't forget to check my live stream on my Twitch account if you want more tips and tricks. So we'll be doing a commentary while playing RuneScape. So it will be very useful to get more money tips and things to get better experience per hour. And yeah, for those who are wondering, I'm currently trying to get the maximum amount of experience possible in Runecrafting and probably be one of the first to 99 Runecrafting on the new servers. Thanks for watching.